Here we go.
Okay. Episode 75, Saudi Fitness Talk Show. And today, we are here with the one and only Lutalo Muhammad. So welcome to the show, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
We're really honoured to have you on. And thank you for making
mine.
the time for us and to come speak to us, but not only to everyone else, all our listeners who listen to the podcast. And I can't wait to get stuck into
Our first Olympian.
First
Yes.
Olympian.
First Olympian.
First and last.
The last one we're having.
After this, no one
After
else
this,
is coming.
they're like,
yeah.
no way. Yeah.
Yeah, grand
No,
opening.
we're really excited to have you on the show, so thanks for coming
Awesome.
on.
No,
on
my
the show.
pleasure. My pleasure.
And so, obviously, there's so much we can get into. I think, as always with a lot of our guests, the best place to kind of start is where it all started. and a bit of a background, so people who don't really know who you are or anything, give them a little bit of background of who you are, what you've done, and everything else.
I mean, for sure. I mean, well, you mentioned the Olympics there. So I am a 2-time Olympic medalist in the sport of Taekwondo. And Taekwondo was just always a part of my life. Taekwondo is a Korean martial art. It's a bit like kickboxing.
Yep.
We throw a lot of high kicks for those who've never seen it before. It's obviously more of a niche sport. But to go back to the beginning, I come from a martial arts family.
Yeah?
So from East London, Walthamstow, born and raised.
All right.
And everyone in my family is a black belt in martial arts.
No.
Yeah, for real. Even my mum.
So
Even
do
my
not
mum.
break into your house.
Absolutely
it's
not.
a bad idea.
Absolutely not. Literally.
So you don't mind giving your address away?
Yeah.
No. Come on in. It's gonna come on the screen. Y'all can try if you want. But no, everyone in my family is a black belt in martial arts. So I was just martial arts obsessed growing up, but almost didn't know it. That was just my normal. So, just always practicing, always being involved in sport. We're a sports mad family as well. So I was always active, always doing something. And that was just my life. And
You got siblings, yeah?
yeah. So I got older brother and a younger brother, and they both do it as well.
Yeah?
So
Taekwondo.
They both do it. And my dad has done Taekwondo, but he's also done some judo, some jiu-jitsu, some kendo. So he was he got into the whole martial arts boom in the 1970s when Bruce Lee was on the screen. So
That was his hero. And,
literally. So Bruce Lee, guys like Muhammad Ali inspired my dad. So my dad was into boxing. So he started off as a boxer. And he got to a certain point in his life where he just thought, well, boxing is, at that time anyway, his perception was that it's something you can do like for maybe a short professional career, whereas martial arts he saw as a bit more holistic and something that you can do forever and ever. Don't get me wrong, I'm inspired by a lot of old school boxers who are still doing their thing, so it's, you can definitely have longevity in that, but the martial arts, definitely the whole kind of mind, body, spirit connection, I think he was very attracted to. A lot of credit has to go to those early martial arts masters. Interesting enough, Master Uwe was my dad's master, who has recently passed, which was quite sad. But he was just a really charismatic man, and a lot of young boys, from urban communities during that time who maybe had a father in their life or didn't have a father in their life.
Male figure in their life.
He was that male figure.
Yeah.
And so...
Discipline,
Absolutely. I mean, martial arts comes from the military. Taekwondo specifically comes from the Korean military. So those early sessions, I'll be real. I'm glad I skipped that era, if I'm being very real with you. They were absolutely brutal, knuckles on hard floors and 3 hours training. So I come in the sports era, so my era is a little bit soft compared to those guys. I ain't even gonna lie. And so what those early masters did, like you said, just being that kind of father figure, that male figure, was just wonderful. And all of that generation, they're still involved in the martial arts today, whether they're teaching, whether they're mentoring other young men and women. And he just stemmed from that, and he wanted to always instill it into his children. So I had an older brother and a younger brother. So I think that's why I got so good because I had to learn to fight quickly because they used to gang up on me.
Yeah.
So, I had to be like,
From both
Yeah, so
ends,
how much older is your older brother?
He's 9 years my senior.
Oh, wow.
So
So
yeah,
he's a lot older.
so he's a
Yeah.
lot older. He's a lot older, and I can whip his. No, I'm joking. But so yeah, growing up in that household, all boys. I feel sorry for my mum sometimes. Very boisterous.
Three boys. Yeah.
But
we always say about especially young men, or
Yes.
young boys, they need. We say they need an asshole in
Absolutely.
their life. You need a guy that's gonna discipline you, put you into
Absolutely.
shape and do all that kind of
It's
thing.
yin and yang, isn't it? It's different
It is.
energies.
It
You
is,
know,
yeah.
the mum has one energy, the man has have a different energy.
Absolutely.
You know what I
Absolutely.
mean?
You
And
need
it balances them out,
You need that balance, and I think that's a really great point because life is hard and life is full of assholes. And I think the earlier you can
You get exposed to one.
yeah, well, I'm not calling my brothers assholes, though. I mean, but the earlier I think you can be exposed to adversity.
Yeah.
I think you can always see sometimes in life when somebody's grown up without much challenge,
Yeah.
and their mum or their dad's giving them whatever they want, and they come into the real world, into the working world, and you think, what is wrong with that man-child or something like that?
Yeah.
And
They haven't grown up yet.
exactly. So having adversity really, I think, is beneficial. But I'm probably fast forwarding a little bit. But let me get forward to to the Olympics. So I was always training. My dad used to make me go running before school, come home from school, do my homework. Then we had to do some martial arts training. And what really inspired that was in Sydney 2000, Taekwondo, the martial art I practiced, became an official Olympic sport.
Yeah.
So I remember seeing the athletes on the podium, and Sydney, they even had like the reef because it was I guess the Special Olympics or whatever, and they had and I just remember seeing the whole ceremony and just being captivated by it. And my dad, being very astute, chose that exact moment to just lean over and say, "That could be you one day, son. You could be on top of the world. There's millions of people watching this. This could be you." And I don't think the enormity of the moment settled on me at the time, but I was just like, yeah, okay, it sounds good. And that was all my parents
Planted
needed.
the seed.
Planted the seed, but also started the training plan.
Yeah.
So from a young age, I realized you can have the biggest dreams you want, but you have to work for it. So going running before school, training after school. My mom was my nutritionist, eating good food. My brothers, massive respect to them because they sacrificed too. I had more attention on me than perhaps they did because I was going for this big thing.
Right.
So it was really a family affair. Going to tournaments on weekends. Sometimes Taekwondo wasn't maybe available, so we'll go to a kickboxing tournament, we'll go to a karate tournament. So honestly, learning the rules in the car, and just sometimes it's semi-contact, sometimes you can kick to the head, sometimes you got sweeps. So literally just getting exposure to fighting, and it just became such a part of my life, and it was normal to me. It's only now that I look back and you can compare it to maybe friends and even other extended family members, think, oh wow, that was a bit of a strange upbringing, but it was just so normal to me. A lot of discipline, going to bed on time, waking up early, but I wouldn't have it any other way. But I remember when London won the bid for the Olympics, and that was announced on TV. I think it's David Beckham and
Probably, yeah.
Prince William,
All that lot.
all those guys, and the construction started, and literally it's about 7 minutes from my house. The
Stratford.
the
Yeah,
Olympic Stadium. So
yeah.
I'm in Walthamstow, and there's a road that connects to Stratford. It's so quick. So it literally was a home Olympics for me, and I'll be honest, it was still kind of a dream, but I used to ride my bike to the stadium, and when it was all scaffolding, I just kind of closed my eyes and visualized what it'd be like. Just imagine that I competed here, and I was what it'd feel like. Some of my earliest sporting idols were Muhammad Ali, Linford Christie, all of them Olympians. So I used to watch their tapes and be inspired and try and draw on that energy. And to fast forward, I think I was 18 years old. Been on this journey when I got the attention of Team GB. And once I got there, it was like an express train. I think I joined in July of 2011. By May of 2012, I was the European champion, and by August of 2012, I was an Olympic medalist.
Yeah, it was bronze medal, wasn't it?
Yes, and it
18 years old, yeah.
I was 19 by the time
19
I got the medal. But it was it really shows that you if you're working on something and you're just going for it. Sometimes it can feel like you're not making
any progress,
massive amounts of progress. Then, like you just said, boom. So be ready for that. For that boom to happen, you have to put in the work. You have to put in the hours where nobody's watching, where you're not getting any credit. You have to be going to tournaments. You have to, lose, God forbid, and your dad shouting at you in the car. You've got to go through all those moments, and sometimes it was intense. Having my dad as my actual dad and my coach, it was.
So you had about 10 years of that period, right?
Yeah.
Like tournaments and maybe longer.
Yeah. But you're right.
About 10 years.
Our first competition was at 7 years old.
Right. So
and
12
19.
years.
So
12 years.
And then in the last or that few month period, European Olympics.
Overnight success. Where's this kid come from?
Overnight success.
No, seriously.
Right.
That's what I was like, where's this kid? He just came out of nowhere.
You've been doing it for 12 years.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's something that I've realized from now working with other young athletes, speaking to their parents, or just people who have been really lovely and stopped me like, oh man, I wanna be like you, and I wanna do this. And you ask them what's your life looking like? How's your training plan? And they're not doing anything.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think maybe one of the downsides to the social media generation of kind of living through instant gratification.
Everything looks instant, doesn't it?
Everything looks instant, but nothing ever is. No. And unfortunately, to ask someone to put 12 years of grind into something, not get paid any money, not get any serious accolades. Don't get me wrong, I made a local paper a few times.
Yeah,
and all
exactly.
That, but not get any significant reward for a big reward later. That's not a great deal for most people, and that's a real shame.
But that is reality.
That's reality. That's reality.
You talk to your father or grandfathers, they would work for a long, long time and before anything would come around. You know what I mean? You can't just now that everyone's just trying to get the get rich quick schemes and these Amazon shipping things or whatever it is, just trying to get some cash straight away. Yeah, but it takes time to build.
It takes time, and I think what's lost in that is the sacrifice. And the reality is, a lot of times it's a generational sacrifice. My grandfather and my grandmother made a massive sacrifice. They grew up on a beautiful tropical climate, came to England, it was cold, even at times a little hostile in that early generation. So making that, but they made that sacrifice with the vision of
future generations.
Yeah, maybe not even their children, their grandchildren living a good life. So I feel like that's a bit lost with this instant gratification. It's difficult with so many distractions, your phone, whatever, to think long term.
Yeah, and everyone's living so in the moment. Yeah, you know what I mean. They're thinking about just themselves and their instant, rather than thinking like that. So I've never really thought about that, but yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah. Like how this generation is just focusing on like now. And maybe for meditation practitioners, they'd love that because that's what you're meant to do is think about it and not think about the future. But people would be thinking, they'd be planning for their children and grandchildren.
That's right.
But now it's like, I just want to do this. I want to go live in Bali. I want to go get some. I want to do this side hustle. I'm going to do, and it's just like,
what about me? I want to live my truth. Now. So it's like, don't get me wrong. I love meditation practices. I love wellness, and you have to look after yourself. You can't just, I guess, completely just.
But it's not indulging all day, every day in it.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
You do 10 minutes here or whatever, and then you move on.
Yeah. It's like how we started this conversation. It's balance.
Yeah.
It's balance. I think you have to, definitely be present, live in the now, but you also have to think long term, and long term is not just your life. Sometimes, you have to. I think even with your behavior, you got to think, well, how could this affect my children or my future grandchildren? You
I
know,
don't think
if
people are thinking like that.
No, I don't think so at all.
No.
I think
don't think so.
people who are millennials, Gen Zs, they're not thinking about.
No.
They don't even want kids. They don't. You know, not thinking about that at all.
We've lost that connection, I think. For example, you know, there's things that I would never do because I'd be ashamed to embarrass my dad and my granddad.
Yeah.
And my children and my grandchildren who don't exist yet.
Yeah.
And I think that's just those old school values that have been instilled in me from, you know, my parents and my grandparents, and also through the martial arts, philosophy and teaching. So, and yeah, that is missing right now. But you know, I'm always optimistic for the future. I'm sure we'll get it right. But right now, we are going through a very, what feels like selfish, instant.
Narcissistic.
Yeah,
I agree. Yeah.
And social media rewards that. More likes,
Yeah.
more shares,
more views,
more
that,
views.
Yeah.
We've it's like instead of having, you know, good values, integrity, it's just like act the fool, make a fool of yourself.
Do whatever you can.
Do whatever you can to get those views, and that's not healthy, and I don't think it has any long-term fulfillment. So that's why I'm optimistic that.
People feeling
things will change.
Yeah, it has to.
It always does this, doesn't it?
Exactly.
Full circle.
Everything is a full circle.
Whether it's this or to fashion or to music, you know, everything. It always
everything comes back. Everything comes back. It's true.
So tell us, so you had London.
Yeah.
Great experience, I imagine. Home games.
Crazy.
All that stuff.
Crazy.
I still think it was the best opening ceremony.
Olympics.
I think
The
it
opening
was.
ceremony was
Opening
great.
ceremony was dope. I think
Had a bit of like comedy, like humor in there, the British humor.
Great.
You see, you know,
James Bond, the Queen
jumping
Mr.
out.
Bean.
Yeah, it was good.
You had
Made you proud. I thought.
Oh man,
makes you proud. Yeah, for
it
sure.
was insane how beautiful it was, and being in the athletes' village was just.
You could have just stayed at home. You could have
I
just
could have stayed at home, but I'm so happy I
You
didn't.
could have just walked.
Yeah, 'cause you want to be amongst
You know
it.
what?
Yeah.
If it's there, I'm gonna take it.
For
you
sure,
know, yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
You want to be amongst the vibe, the energy.
Of course. Yeah.
vibe, the energy, being in that village where, say, just in Team GB alone, you got Mo Farah there, you got Jess Ennis there, Greg Rutherford, all these people, but you're wearing the same tracksuit. You're all on the same mission, so everyone's really cool. Everyone's trying to help each other. That team spirit in Team GB House was so powerful. Honestly, gold medal, bronze medal, silver medal. You just seen it because we had a big board, where every day you just saw the results, and you Taekwondo's right at the end.
Right.
I'm thinking, I'm gonna add to that. I'm gonna be a part of this. You know, there's no way I'm gonna leave this without stamping my name in history. And when you're in that village, and you meet a Kobe Bryant, who's rest in peace, who's gone now. You see a LeBron James. You see all these super elite Serena Williams, and you're just thinking like, this is incredible.
Yeah.
And I belong. I'm
part of
it. Yeah.
I'm in this, brotherhood and sisterhood of the elites of the elite. All of us are peaked for this moment, for these 2 weeks, a lifetime of training to peak for 2 weeks. And, to be a part of that, to deliver, and the aftermath was like what I can imagine the guys that came back from a war, or, the way the British public embraced us, the parades. I just remember it's being on an underground train, reading a book, and someone tapped my shoulder. We just want to thank you for your service at these Olympic Games. I was like, for my service? That's why I said it was like...
Yeah, that military.
It was. It's like, for the country changed for like, probably like 6 weeks. Like, maybe...
Before and after.
Yeah, before
brings
and
everyone
after.
together, doesn't it?
It was the most united... and maybe I'm a bit biased because I was one of the athletes, but it felt the most united I've ever felt in the United Kingdom, in the UK. It really was a beautiful time, and we could probably do this another Olympics now. Because it's an interesting time in the UK. It's still a lot of good things going on, but I think there is a lot of discontent, and I think we need something to bring everyone together.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It's how is it with the athlete village? So you guys are all Team GB stay together.
Yeah.
Is it like, I don't know, I have literally no idea. So Team GB in one spot, and then you got other countries next door or in amongst, or how is it?
So Team GB. So
Who was next to you? Who are your neighbours? Which
Oh
countries?
gosh, we had Canada. So we have like bigger apartment blocks.
Yeah.
So some of the smaller teams will share.
So it's apartment blocks.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So Team GB, we had our own one, being a host nation and being a very big team.
Yeah.
I think we had Canada. But when you say neighbours, they are
In the next block.
Yeah, they're in the next block, so it's a bit of an effort to get there. The Olympic Village is huge,
Right.
and it's made so you can pretty much socialize and just vibe with your own team. It is a competition at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of mingling. I'm sure you've heard the stories. People,
Mingling.
Yeah, mingling. Yeah, people get busy at the Olympic Games. It is what it is. That testosterone's flowing.
Yeah.
There was a lot of parties and.
That must be hard. If you're the end, you're the last event.
Yeah, it must be.
Yeah.
You got to wait while everyone starts finishing and celebrating.
Partying like literally, so it's crazy. However, some people struggle with that, but I found it easy.
You built up for 12 years. So
You can hold on for another week or so. Yeah.
But believe it or not, some people can't hold on.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking like, you're gonna blow this once in a lifetime opportunity when you can party every day of your life after you win an Olympic medal.
Yeah.
But some people self-sabotage at the last moment. Like really, like I'm talking, you've done everything you can to qualify. You're one of the best in the world, and there's a McDonald's in the village, and you're scoffing McDonald's every day because it's free.
Yeah.
Like 11 days before you're about to do the biggest competition of your life. So honestly, self-sabotage is real. I think imposter syndrome is real, and I think some people do. Unfortunately, the antidote to that is just to do things that they wouldn't even normally do. I'm talking about really smart, intelligent people, best in the world.
They've been taken out of their environment.
Yes.
You stick
Bingo.
people, anyone, in new environments, they change.
Yeah.
Habits change, everything changes.
Pastor
Psychology.
McFlurry.
Yeah.
Where's the party at? It's like,
You know,
bro.
in their training camp, they would never think of
Exactly.
the training village or whatever they were doing. But
It does weird things to people.
I can imagine. Yeah.
It does weird things to people. And the event itself, we didn't really get too much into, but I remember coming out and the noise was so enormous.
Yeah.
I turned around to my coach and saying, like, whoa, what is this right now?
Yeah, because you've never competed in front of probably at that stage 19, anything like that.
No. For Taekwondo, the Olympics is the pinnacle.
Yeah.
You're never going to get a bigger audience, more.
How many was it? Like
bigger
20,000 people?
Yeah, something like that. I think a bit XL.
15?
Yeah, about 15, I believe.
Yeah.
About 15, I believe. But I turned around and I couldn't hear the sound of my own voice. Yeah. That's never happened before or since. I can hear myself all the time. I was like, whoa. so just dealing with that is a bit of a whoa.
Yeah.
This is different. This is not normal. And some legends, Olympic legends, spoke to me
about that
before that. People like Michael Johnson, people like Steve Redgrave. I had access to those, Denise Lewis and others. And the constant theme was like, you've been to a World Championships, you've been to a Europeans, maybe a Commonwealth. There's nothing like an Olympics. You think you're ready, but you're not ready. I was thinking, who do these guys think they are?
Yeah.
Come on, please.
Yeah.
I've seen the Olympics on TV all the time. It's all good. But no, they were right. There's nothing that can prepare you for an Olympics. So the Olympics is in of itself who can kind of rise to the occasion on the day under those circumstances. It's weird. The pressure is weird. You're so acutely aware that there are tens of millions of people tuning in who will probably never watch, especially if you're in a minority sport like me, will never watch it again or will maybe only watch every 4 years.
4 years, yeah.
But
I think there's something.
the world is glued.
Especially with that moment you're talking about.
Yeah.
Like all the other fights you've been to, competitions you've done, they're all important to win and everything else. But it's not the final. It's not the moment, is it? Like if you lose local competition, you're pissed off, whatever, but there's that long-term goal in mind and whatever. Now you're at the end of the long-term goal. I guess.
There's a lot at stake, You imagine those thoughts of like, I've been doing it, I've been building up to this moment, 12 years, all those thoughts come into your head and, the bright lights and like all this stuff is, because I used to do weightlifting and I remember my first, when I went to the British Championships for the first time for Olympic weightlifting, I was just, on a stage, not 15,000 people, maybe a couple of hundred people or whatever, but it was the biggest audience I've ever lifted in front of on that stage it was pitch black apart from the spotlight.
Yeah.
You know, like a theatre.
Wow,
I'm lifting.
wow.
I'm like, I can't see anything.
Yeah.
And I missed the first 2 lifts, got my third snatch. But again, it was that sort of just like, what the hell is this? Totally different environment, totally everything.
Yeah.
And that could just completely rock you completely.
It does. So a lot of people choke, they don't perform, and at least with the British Championships, I can come back next year.
Yeah, exactly.
With the Olympics,
exactly.
I mean, I think it's I've forgotten the percentage. 70 or 80% of Olympians only get to go to one.
Yeah.
So going to multiple is very rare. And if you think about some of your favorite athletes or favorite Olympic moments, it's usually a different lineup, games to games.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
If you watch the 100-meter final, so it's it messes with your mind. It messes with your mind. But I guess it's the pinnacle for a reason. It's the reason why we love to watch it. We're gonna see who's gonna thrive, who's gonna choke, who's gonna underperform, who's gonna overperform. That's what makes the Olympics so exciting.
Yes, and that's it. Everyone builds it. It's the best. Like whether it's the athletics or that's what you were saying. Like you watch sports like you never watch.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
If it's on, I'm watching it.
Like speed rock climbing was.
Let's do it. That was great. I really enjoyed that.
It was good.
It's like you see Peter Parker just go straight up.
How are they climbing so fast?
How? And I tell you what, it's crazy on TV, but live when you're there, it's even more insane.
Is it?
You're thinking, Spider-Man's real, I guess. Like literally the way as I was watching, I didn't make it for the boys, but I saw the girls, and insane, and up close you can see like the upper body muscles they got.
Oh,
at the
their
back.
armpits.
Literally,
Climbers have the best armpits.
Literally. Oh wow, that's interesting.
Lats, pecs, rotator cuffs.
Okay.
So climbers, when you see them, their armpits are ridiculous.
Insane
Muscle development.
And
that's why climbing is great for shoulders. Great for shoulder health.
Okay. That's really interesting. Pull-ups for days as well.
Yeah.
Just doing pull-ups.
Well, they grip. They can do them 2 fingers, 1 finger. Ridiculous.
Because I asked one of the GB girls, Shauna, and I said, how many pull-ups can you do? She said, as many as I want. I thought, okay. That was the most gangster reply ever. And she meant it as well. I was like,
just however many.
Yeah, literally. How many do you want?
Endurance on those guys.
It's insane. It's insane.
When you watch
Crazy.
Yeah, love the climbing. The skateboarding's a cool new one as well. Yeah. You got the surfing as well. So I really like what the Olympics is doing by including all these different events, trying to keep up with the kind of events that maybe a lot of the youngsters of today are going to be inspired and get into.
The next one is it US? The next one is the next one?
Yeah, Los Angeles.
28, isn't it?
Yes, 28, which is,
they got the football and then they got the Olympics, They got football.
Oh, wow,
doing World Cup.
Yeah,
so
26 and 28. Yeah, they got a lot going on.
That's going to be massive. I mean, LA, I think they are recycling a lot of the old stadiums from 1984, that iconic games. Carl Lewis won 4 medals. So it's I'm very intrigued to see how it goes. I feel like the Americans are going to do it right. I think they're going to all the flash.
Put on a show.
They'll go all out.
They know how to put on a show.
Yeah, for sure.
They know how to put on a show. It's going to be epic. So I'm looking forward to
it.
it.
And you went to Rio as well.
Yes,
right?
I did.
Yeah.
Yes, I did.
Brazil. Yeah.
Brazil.
What was that like?
That was interesting. No. I mean, coming from London, which, as we all agreed, one of the greatest. I think the greatest.
Yeah.
London, Beijing.
Yeah, Beijing was crazy as well.
Beijing was insane. Watching
that's one in my lifetime, I've seen.
Yeah, I think. I mean, Beijing with Michael Phelps winning 8.
That was what I was
winning 3.
Was that his first one?
That was his first one as well. So when he
just shocked the world.
And the dancing. So
iconic, man.
Those two, Beijing and London.
And and Beijing holds a special place because that's what you talk about being inspired. Watching that, I think about 15, 16, that was like, okay.
The one before.
This is
I
the
really want, I mean, I've been training for this, but now I really want to do this, and it's a pivotal time as well because that kind of age is where you find a lot of athletes kind of fall out because they're teenagers, they want to get...
Yeah, they get distracted by girls, they get distracted by,
your
parties.
Friends are smoking cigarettes behind the gym, going to parties, drinking... WKD, whatever's available. So that's the age where you really have to kind of double down. And I think that Olympics gave me what I needed, seeing Michael Phelps and Usain Bolt to just double down and stay away from the nonsense. So love Beijing, love London. But let's talk about Rio. So Rio, great games, great build up in the sense that I'm world number one. I'm now it's now my time. It's my time. I've got a bronze. I've had my
your first exposure,
my first experience. Yeah. It's now time to go and get that gold medal. What my whole life has been building to, and I remember getting off the plane. We had a great training camp in Belo Horizonte, and we flew into Rio, and we got onto the bus, and they put these massive screens up along the motorway, and we found out that those screens were there to hide the favelas. But the problem was the screens would have had to have been about 300 meters high because the favelas go all the way up the
mountains.
And you see these shacks, these favelas, and they've got these kind of blue buckets on top of all of them. And you think, why is that there? And it's to collect rainwater, so they've got water to bathe with and to
shower and clean.
And when you see that level of poverty, it's very humbling, and it does make you think. It gives you that perspective to think like, okay, this Olympics is everything to me, but it's not everything.
Yeah,
there's more important things in the world. A festival for sports, and obviously, look, I know the Brazilian economy was booming when they won because it's similar to America. They got the World Cup in Sao Paulo. Then they had Rio in 2014. Then they had the Olympics in 2016. So they're doing what the Americans got, but I think they had some problems with the economy, and the city went bankrupt. And we saw it. And when you contrast that with London, and you see the poverty that was in Rio, it made us all think. Honestly, it was like,
this is not actually as important as we think it is.
No. And by the way, love Brazil, love Rio. I'm not trying to be negative. I'm just keeping it real about my experience. What we all saw, and you can't ignore the poverty. But even still, we got to the village, and there was some bits not finished and all that. And I'm not saying that as a diva. I'm just
stating facts.
It's stating facts, and it really did bring it home. Like, okay, as great as the Olympics is, it's very expensive, and it is something for countries that I wouldn't say developing countries should necessarily bid for an Olympics, in my opinion. I think it's for very, very wealthy countries because it's a super luxury. It's a super luxury. And your heart goes out to those people. However, one thing I will say, the people that I met on the street were some of the loveliest, nicest people you could meet. They didn't have much, but they had soul, they had character.
Yeah, they didn't have much materially.
No.
But they had much more than a lot of us.
Absolutely.
In terms of soul, like you were saying, and character and everything else.
Absolutely.
And how much they're willing to give you, and they don't have it.
Exactly. So that's when you say how was Rio. I just want to give you the context. So that was kind of the mindset going into that fight, and there's a lot of poverty, but there's also a lot of beauty in Brazil. So completely different from London. Total contrast. But the games itself, so I get to fast forward to the day. I'm not caught up in the excitement of whatever's going on right now. I'm here to win.
Right.
So I've had my first experience. It's like,
you've got like tunnel vision now.
Tunnel vision, man. It's like, okay. Oh, you saying one again? Great. Amazing. Okay.
Yeah. Don't care.
Cool. Literally. I was so focused. Get to the fight day. First fight, Australia. Dust him off. Great. Second fight was interesting because the person who I watched as a boy, 9 years old, getting the wreath around his head and the gold medal. Stephen Lopez, like the GOAT of Taekwondo. He's 2-time Olympic gold medalist, 3-time medalist overall. I had to fight him. So it
second
was
round.
Second round. And I had visualized this so much one day fighting kind of my idol, the Muhammad Ali of Taekwondo. And I always mention this one because it was weird. It was kind of spooky. I had visualized that fight so much that the fight itself was like a fever dream. It was weird. It was like, honestly, everything that he did. It's like, oh, I've seen that before.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
Okay,
You've
cool.
been there before.
It's like,
yeah.
Have you seen Neo in the Matrix at the
Yeah,
end?
that was you.
Just the blocking.
But I'm being real.
Yeah.
And
like an out-of-body experience almost.
Yeah.
It was like literally I was sat here watching me fight my idol, and it's like, okay, oh yeah, here comes the left leg. Bizarre. But I won that fight, and that felt like a kind of passing of the guard moment.
Yeah.
So I'm even more like ready
Pumped.
to win now. Yeah, okay. Not even pumped, just like,
This is my time.
Yeah, this is it.
It's like it's just gonna happen. You thought,
exactly.
Yeah.
Just, I get
Getting all the signs.
all the signs.
Yeah.
All the signs. Now, the only person that I'd struggled with in the build up to this game, so I was like the world number one, but I had lost to Azerbaijan, Milad. In fact, I'll be honest, he beat me. He smoked me, to be honest, at the European Championships. It was a bit like, okay, who's the new guy again? You know, I was a new guy for London. He was the new guy for Rio. It was like, who's this guy? So I studied intently and got better and better and better in my training camp, and I beat him, and I beat him handily. And now it's like, oh, you know, the gold medal is kind of like, it was here, it's kind of like around my ears now. It just needs to land.
Yeah.
It's like, I've beaten the guy.
Yeah.
I've beaten the guy. So everybody.
Yeah. If you were going to be worried about anyone, it was him.
Yeah. It was him. So I get into the final now, Olympic final for the first time. Great feeling. It's where I'm supposed to be. Against Cisse of the Ivory Coast. So round one, great. I'm winning, I think, by 3 points. Got him in the head, kept it long, kept him at the end of my legs, like how a boxer uses a jab, so I kept my distance. Round two, more of the same, I'm still winning. We get to round three, I'm winning. So I'm winning the whole fight. I don't think there was ever a point where he was leading. And I remember, you know, looking at the clock, 1 minute to go. Okay, cool. And you're not really getting excited because you're still in the fight. 40 seconds, 15 seconds, whatever.
No.
I remember 10 seconds to go.
No way.
Yeah, vividly. So 10 seconds to go on the board, and I'm winning the fight. Okay, cool. And what happens, as you know, well, maybe in the stadium, the people count down. So 10, 9, 8. So I think it gets to like 6 or something. The referee has to break something up. I get to 3, 2, 1. The crowd goes wild, like crazy. It's pandemonium, but the fight's still going on. So I'm still there, still going, and it feels like a lifetime. I'm thinking, basically, when's the buzzer gonna go? What's going on? What's going on?
It's hit 0.
I've heard 0 time. Everyone's going crazy, but literally, so I'm thinking the fight's going on for what felt like another 10, 15 seconds. Then Cisse throws a wild kick out of nowhere. Boom. He's I guess his
heel or foot?
I think his toe. I didn't actually feel anything. Something skims past my head. Bing! I hear the buzzer. I look at the board. Cisse's up and I'm down. What? Cisse goes crazy. He runs into the crowd. There's a massive Ivory Coast flag. He runs in. The crowd's going crazy. And there was so much confusion for me. I was thinking, what the heck just happened? What's just happened? Turn around at my coach. He looks like he's been shot.
Yeah.
And then it hit me. Well, I think when I saw my coach, I was like, oh, he won. And I wasn't sure how at the time because so much going on.
Yeah.
But I realized that I had lost. And it was like, wow. I remember it felt like the mat, the ring. I don't know if you saw the old cartoons when it was like quicksand.
Yeah.
And it felt like I was just sinking into the ring. And total devastation, I guess, started to come over me. As each second that went by, I realized that I wasn't the Olympic champion, and that everything that I had trained for, everything I had worked for, had just been snatched, literally in a split second.
So what happened?
Well, what happened in the end was Team GB actually put in an appeal, a review, and the timekeeper was 7 seconds behind.
No.
So that feeling, that kind of limbo where the crowd was like, yeah, but the fight was still going on.
Yeah.
That confusion technically was dead time. However, once a result, it must be a Taekwondo rule, or I don't know if it's changed now. Once the result's been like done,
flagged off,
you can't change it. So we had I had, I guess, the brutal reality that we kind of messed up, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
So totally.
Is that because of a head kick? How many How much is a head kick?
Because he got a spinning hit. So he threw the only kick that he could have thrown to win that fight.
Right.
I think I was 4 points ahead, and he threw.
That's 5 points, something like that.
Yeah. So. But
brutal.
Yeah.
And there's
basically a technicality.
A technicality, but reality.
Also, yeah,
true.
You just have to accept it. And also the Jesse Owens, the famous sprinter from the 1936 Berlin Games, he had a quote that I used to really like. It was a lifetime of training for 10 seconds. Because it's 10 seconds, 100 meters. And in that moment, I felt like a lifetime of training to be ruined by 1 second. That's how it. That's how it really felt. I felt
everything got taken away from you in 1 second. Yeah.
I felt powerfully like I'd let everyone down. I'd let myself down. I'd let the country down. I'd let my family down. All that lineage from Master Uwe, my father. All those mornings getting up before my friends, going running. All those rejecting all those parties. Sticking to the plan, and for that to happen, it was horrible. I went to the media booth. And by the way, this is all happening in the space of about a minute and a half, because you got to get straight to your media, and
you're in shock, probably, aren't you?
I was in shock, and I was kind of processing what had happened as I was talking. So I was very emotional. I cried. I felt like I'd let everyone down, and that interview subsequently kind of went viral in a way. At the time.
Now you're talking about it, and I think I now remember it.
Yeah.
On BBC, I used to watch the highlight shows afterwards.
Yeah. I think
when you were talking, I was like, I think I saw.
Yeah.
Remember it now. Yeah.
Unfortunately, I mean, I say unfortunately, but it is when I meet people like.
I saw you crying on TV.
Literally, that's my neighbour actually. Just like, oh, I remember you. Oh, you over that? Yeah, I was like, okay.
So English.
Yeah. I think I'm like still depressed about what happened in 2016, but I want to make this point. Even in what felt like my darkest moment, the sun still rose the next morning. I was able to. I was a silver medalist, and I got to, I guess, embrace the silver lining. Not many people can, quote unquote, fail and land on an Olympic silver medal. I think the fact that I lost on a technicality probably did help as well once I processed it.
Yeah.
It was like I have the, what's the word? I have the, I guess, the aura of knowing that I kind of won, even though I didn't get the medal. So I think that helped me process it a bit better. My family was very supportive. That helped me process it a bit better. But what really helped me, I guess you could see it as a bit strange, is that Cisse, my opponent in the final, it was Africa's first gold medal in Taekwondo. I think the Ivory Coast's first gold medal in anything. Okay. So I saw the footage. He went straight to the Ivory Coast, and the way it stopped traffic, and the way the entire country was just, it was party time, that they had a national hero.
Big picture. And
I saw that and thought, you know what? If I'm being honest, if I had held on and won the gold medal, I don't think I could have done that, because Cisse has now inspired an entire continent to get involved in a sport that they didn't have a massive interest in before. Now Africa's a serious force as a continent in Taekwondo. The Ivory Coast is a force. as a country in Taekwondo. So when you can see
that ripple effect of
the ripple effect, the bigger picture, the long-term vision, you can see, okay, that's why it happened.
Yeah, the power of the Olympics. Yeah.
And I couldn't have done that. We've, as an individual, Great Britain, we win tons of gold medals. If I'd won the gold medal, if we're being brutally honest, I might not be sitting here speaking to you now. So I would have got drowned in all the success. Another gold medal, fantastic. On to the next. But the fact that I was awarded the silver in the fashion which it happened has made my story very memorable, and I think you have to just accept that disappointments are a part of life. Just because you went on a journey and gave everything to that journey and to that vision, even if you just come up short of that vision that you had, it doesn't mean that journey was a waste of time. No. The lessons you learned, the resilience, the mental strength, the sacrifice, they still all count. Just because you didn't get a shiny piece of metal in the color that you would have preferred it, it doesn't take any of that away. And I never would have learned that lesson if that Olympic final didn't happen how it happened. Yeah. So yeah, it's something that will always kind of be a part of me, whether I like it or not. And I like to think things happen for a reason.
Same.
And I try to look for the deeper meaning in anything.
The why, yeah.
Why would that happen? What a weird anomaly. What a weird technicality. I've never even seen that happen before. How would that happen? And, it's like, the man upstairs knows the sacrifice, and, my dad and all his peers and his masters. This was like ordained. This was supposed to happen, but it didn't happen. So now what? So what can I take from that? What can I learn from that? What can I pass on to others through mentorships, through podcasts, through telling my story? And how can others who have maybe been through worse disappointments, who've had harder things happen to them, how can they take something from my story that can maybe help them process that a bit better? And also, I talk about the things that help me process it. Another thing that majorly helped me process it was that at the end of the day, it's sport. It's an honor and a privilege to be able to represent your country in any format. So to be able to do it at an Olympic Games, to go to 2 games, to get 2 medals, is such an honor and a privilege. And there are people in the world right now who are scavenging and not knowing where they're going to get their next meal. So for me to be all sad and depressed because I didn't win a sports contest would be foolish and ungrateful. It would go against the values which my family and the martial arts instilled in me. So that is why I choose to be positive and to look for the deeper meaning and to accept it rather than just to wallow in despair.
And focus on the other side. It's the cup half full, half empty thing.
Exactly.
And majority of people focus on the empty side. I mean, there's also the full side as well.
And there's a lot of people, and unfortunately, I know a lot of athletes who stopped competing in, say, 2000, but up here they're still in 2000.
Right.
They're still thinking about, Lutalo, if only I hadn't dropped that baton. This is real. If only I hadn't got injured. And it's like, it's 20 odd years ago.
Yeah.
Water under the bridge.
Exactly.
Got to move on.
It's done. It's got to move on. And I think that's, the biggest thing if you're listening and watching this and you can take, and you're going through something hard, or you've been through something hard, you've got to move on. You've got to keep looking forward. Everything happens for a reason. And you can find a deeper meaning in that. But you've got 2 choices. You can either stay there and never move on and, be depressed or be sad or want people to feel sorry for you, or you can just keep moving forward and use the Olympics or whatever's happened to you as a platform to get to the next level in life. everything is about progress. Everything is about moving forward. You know, I try to spend very little time looking in the rearview mirror of life. Everything that's happened has happened. What's next? Yeah. What's next? What's the biggest thing I learned from chasing the gold medal for years and years and years is that you have to have a North Star. You have to have a gold medal that you're chasing in life. What's the old saying? Is it something like aim for the stars, land on the moon?
Yeah.
Something.
Aim for the stars, land on the moon, yeah.
I think shoot for the moon and then you'll land amongst the stars.
Yeah, which I don't think is astronomically correct.
Doesn't make sense. You're still really far away.
That doesn't make much sense, but let's just go with it.
Yeah, let's go with that one.
You actually just land in dead space with nothing around you. Lost.
It would be a disaster.
Technically, it would be terrible. It'd be awful.
So I've just written off everything I've said and about to say. But if we're just assuming that, I love that principle. I love that theory. That, and I think the message you get from that is, hey, you're still on the moon. Yeah. And once you're on the moon, what's next? What's next? What's next? I think that's something you always got to be asking yourself. I think the biggest enemy to progress is comfort. It'd be very easy to get comfortable. Okay, I had a great sports career, or I had whatever you've done in your past. I'm just gonna live off that and just. Or it could even be comfortable, just be like, oh, I should have got the gold medal, and just constantly talking about that. You know, you have to set yourself new challenges, new goals, even if you don't maybe quite hit whatever goal you had, you still got to set a new one. You got to constantly be moving forward.
You see that a lot with athletes, people who
Big time.
were professional athletes, retired, moved on, but they keep reliving in their past, their younger years. But I was just thinking, when you were talking about that, it's like someone would say, like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yeah. He's had 3 or 4 different careers throughout his lifetime. Yeah. So he was this, then he was this, and then he was that. Whereas a lot of people get stuck, still in this, maybe now 60s, 70s, they're still trying to be an athlete. Let's say when you're 60, you're like, oh, I was a Taekwondo guy. But you got to keep evolving.
Exactly.
And you keep learning more.
Exactly.
Keep, trying new things. And
it's a platform.
Yeah.
I mean, it's when you're in your 20s and you're just going for sport, you don't realize it, but now that I'm detached from it, I just see the Olympics is just a platform. Yeah. A platform to get me to the next stage of life. That's all it is, and that's all it ever was. But there's a massive beauty in, whilst I was in that moment, giving everything to it. Yeah. And that's one of the biggest lessons. Don't leave anything. Go all out, truly all out. And I think one thing I did realize when I transitioned from my sports career into sports media and coaching is, I think a lot of people get to the end of their life without ever having fully gone all out, giving everything. And a challenge I would just say is, think of where you are and think of where you would be, the version of yourself, if you truly went all out at your work, all out in your relationships, all out in your self-improvement, all out on your health or your wellness. And for me, having done that and having a disciplined childhood and having the rewards of putting that into a sports career, just priceless. The lessons I've learned for the rest of my life have been priceless. So it's absolutely a positive thing, and I look back at my sports career fondly, but I recognize that it's a platform, and the lessons I learned from that were only there just to take me to the next level in life. Yeah, that's all it is.
Yeah, on to the next thing.
Yeah.
And I think that's it. It's I was reading I always refer to this book called The Courage to Be Disliked. It's written by
I've heard of it.
Two Japanese, I can't remember the names.
Interesting.
But they talk about how people, generally the thing is looking at life like a ladder, that you got to climb vertically, but you stay in the same spot. Whereas they think about horizontally. It's moving forwards, like you just said. moving forward. So you're in one place and then you move to the next thing, the next thing. And so most people think about, where the corporate world is all about vertical climbing. Right, I've got to climb the ladder. But I'm staying in the same place. Actually, people should be focusing on, and for mental health and all this side, moving forwards.
Absolutely.
It's a journey. You're not going to, you have to stay in the same place. You were this at this time, and you see it becomes people's identity. I remember myself, I used to play rugby. I got to a good level, then weightlifting, and you're the weightlifter, you're this, you're the rugby player, and people come to you, you're the Taekwondo guy, and it's like, but then no, I'm not anymore. I did that. I finished 6 years ago, whatever it was. You know what I mean? And then you start the next thing, the next thing. Forwards.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
I love that. I'm gonna have to check.
It's a really good book, Courage to be Disliked.
I love that, and it's interesting. I like the title, "The Courage to be Disliked," because isn't it funny? We live in a world where everybody wants to conform. You want to be like your friends. You know, but who are the people that we admire most? The people that stand alone, people that done things differently. Michael, during the lockdown, I'm sure you guys caught it too, The Last Dance with Michael Jordan.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
He didn't give a damn about what he was liked. He had the courage to be disliked. But and if you put Michael Jordan in his prime, or probably right now, in a room full of just normal people, excuse the expression, he would be the weird one. He would be like, who the heck is this guy? You know, why is he so obsessed with winning? Why is he so disciplined? But when you go to their houses, they've all got his poster on their wall. So I love that, the courage to be disliked. And I think especially for young people, have the courage to be disliked. I wasn't cool going running every morning.
Exactly,
I wasn't cool missing every party. People learning all the new dances. I didn't know what I was doing. I was in the gym.
You're kicking people's heads off.
Kicking the shit out of people.
But like we said, for 12 years, that wasn't, you didn't see.
Didn't make any sense.
It didn't make any sense.
No.
Like, LT's on this, I don't know what he's doing.
It's LT doing that weird stuff again.
That family's a bit weird, aren't they? So, but until I'm not.
They see you on TV.
Now
they're all like,
man,
remember me? We used to be friends.
I knew you was going to make it. Bro, I swear, I knew you was going to make it. Okay, and that's fine. That's also part of the journey. You, don't live for other people. Don't put expectations of other people. Your journey is your journey. Your vision is your vision. I believe everybody has a vision that's been given to them, whether you believe that's divine or the universe, whatever you want to call it. It's your right. It's your I wouldn't say your birthright. It's like it's your duty to cultivate that vision and do your best to turn it into reality. But that vision was given to you, not anybody else. So if anyone thinks you're weird for following your journey, your vision, respectfully, screw them.
They can't see it.
It's because it's not theirs. They've got something else that they're supposed to be doing that maybe they're not doing. And you know what? Maybe you doing your thing, the best you can do is maybe give the people around you some inspiration. Okay, maybe I should follow my thing. But honestly, if you got people cussing you, putting you down, good. It's part of the journey. But people, I think, if people try and put you down, it's because you're going up. Or you're moving forward, as our Japanese authors would say. That's why they're trying to pull you back, and that's fine. That's fine. It's only going to get worse.
I think the thing with people as well, like they say, like you're saying, those comments or whatever it is, like they don't really know or care as much about what you're doing as you might think, right?
Absolutely
they don't give a shit. They'll say it. They walk off.
Yeah.
You might be sat there going, they said they think this about me. They're thinking about something else.
Completely.
They care about number one themselves.
Absolutely.
And that's what you should care about too.
Thank you.
No one gives a shit.
No one cares.
You care about your goal more than anyone else.
Exactly.
Okay? It's something to remember, I think.
I think that's a powerful and a powerful truth.
Don't get too caught up.
Everybody's in their own lane. Everyone's got their own BS that they're dealing with or their own thing that they've got to deal with. Everyone's got to go home to their own mess. So, don't even overthink it. It's not that deep.
Ain't that deep.
You're not that special.
Yeah.
What about after Rio? So were you like, I need to get this gold?
Absolutely. So, again, I felt like, right, it's a sequence. Bronze, almost gold, silver.
Yeah.
So what's next? It's got to be gold, right? So the road to Tokyo.
Yeah.
And that was the infamous COVID games. It got delayed.
It was 21, wasn't it?
Yeah, it ended up happening in 21. And again, it just felt like destiny. So
you were doing Europeans and Worlds through that time.
I'm on track. I'm fighting at a new weight division. I've moved up to heavyweight. I remember I was in one of the qualification tournament against America, destroying him, beating him up, easy. So I'm making a huge step to get myself to that games, and I just felt something pop in my knee, and this is like maybe 40 seconds left to go in the fight.
What year are we talking?
The Olympic year.
Oh, Olympic year.
Yeah, qualification.
Okay, right, 21, yeah?
21, a few months before the games.
Wow.
Boom, Tried to continue, couldn't continue with the fight. Unfortunately, referee waves off the fight. Turns out I'd torn my knee, unfortunately. And
Cruciates or something like that?
Yeah. Olympic dream's over. That's it. That's the reality. That's life. So I didn't even make it to Tokyo, and all the build up, and as Murphy's Law, that was the games where, because of how the last two games have got, I was all up over TV, all the sponsors, all the advertisements. It was just like an assumption. Okay, Lutalo's gonna go and win the gold finally.
The story had been built.
The story.
It's gonna come full circle.
All the sponsors were loving it. They're like,
this guy's gonna make us money.
Yeah, literally. I had everyone was jealous. I had every spot. I think I was in 3 major television campaigns, all running at the same time. So big billboards across my hometown. There was a lot of pressure, but
Third Olympics, all the story.
Yeah, gonna complete the story. One injury determined that didn't happen. So again, at the time, a massive disappointment, but also just a reality.
A reality. Yeah.
What's the point in being depressed or sad? It's happened. What am I gonna do now? I get a phone call. It's the BBC. We're sorry. We've just seen what happened. You're not going now. If you're ready, we'd love you to come in the studio and be one of our presenters. Great. That's the what's next I was looking for. Boom. All that.
Another door opens.
Another door opens. All that effort, all that intensity that I'd been putting into preparing for the games. Channel that into this presenting. The presenting goes fantastic. I have weirdly probably a bigger reception and made more noise than I would, I think, if I had just gone on and got another medal. It really went super viral, and I was now set up for my post-Olympic career, something that I wasn't necessarily
planning or thinking about.
It just happened, and it happened because I went all in. I could have easily been in the studio like, this is a bit rubbish, a bit crap. I should be at those games. Who's he think he is? I beat him.
It's
I
the
beat him in
attitude.
he only got lucky because I got injured. No, went in. I studied all the athletes. I tried to, all the notes I had for fighting these guys are now, on the screen.
Tell people.
Exactly. So I got great reviews as an analyst, I tried to sprinkle a little bit of the martial arts and philosophy and Zen into it. I really just went all in, and it paid off. And again, just coming back to that, going all in, just, forget what happened. We're here now. What's the best we can do? What's the best, if we're playing chess, what's the best move we can make on the chessboard? Even if you're, you're getting destroyed. What's the best move I can make? I've only got 2 pawns left. Okay, but what's the best move I can make? Having that attitude has really served me. So that went well. What happened in Tokyo? Bradley got a silver medal. Lauren got a silver medal. So the guys did well. And again, it just really set me up for my post-career. I then got noticed by other television companies. I started doing some work for Sky Sports, for TNT Sports, and it really was all because of the job I did on those Olympics. The Olympics where I should have been going, like I said, could have been depressed and angry in the studio, but no. Because I kept that positive attitude and went all in, it's paid off to now what I do up until this day.
I saw you were doing some stuff with, was it Tom Aspinall?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
what's he like?
He's awesome. Almost, it feels like he's too nice to be the badass he is in the cage. He's got two personalities, clearly. Yeah. He's the nicest, warmest guy.
On-off switch.
Really accommodating, and super smart, very analytical. How he breaks down fights, the patterns he sees. I really, really rate him. And he's in an interesting position right now because John Jones is the GOAT of MMA, period. I think he's the best that's ever fought. Tom's in a really interesting position where he's peaking, and you could argue John Jones at 37, 38.
Yeah.
It might just be time. It might just be
It might be the perfect time.
I hear John Jones wants 30 million.
To fight Aspinall, yeah?
Yeah, I'd want 40
so
million.
Is John Jones...
He might be taking that L.
Yeah.
Honestly, Aspinall's bad. But hopefully...
He's fast for a big guy.
He's quick. He's quick. And the thing is about Aspinall, he's got room to improve. I mean, I showed him a few kicks, and his kicking is
needs some work.
Yeah. Or if he worked on them, he'd be even more dangerous.
Savage, wouldn't it?
That's what I'm saying. So it's
like crazy.
The potential he's got. I think he's 31, 32. So he's. I
was watching those clips of you and him, and I was just like, he's not as fluent.
It's not. He started off as a grappler.
Yeah.
He's a grappler. Then he's obviously got great hands as well.
If he can have some kicks in his weaponry, some of his weapons.
Tom, if you're listening, I'm ready. No, but I really think the potential he's got to keep on going. I'm definitely a supporter of his, and I wish him all the best with that John Jones fight. It's going to be, I think, the greatest heavyweight fight in the history.
So what's Aspinall's record at the moment, roughly?
He has one loss on his record, but he blew his knee in the first 20 seconds of the fight. Right. Technically undefeated.
Yeah,
but he's got one loss technically, but he's
the current champion.
He's the current champion. The UFC, the way they do it, he's the current interim champion. So John Jones
comes in and out, doesn't he?
He comes in and out. But if anyone's earned the right to do that, it's John
Jones.
So it's kind of a weird situation where Tom is the active champion, and John's kind of just like waiting in the background, like the final boss,
the king.
Yeah. Like I used to play Street Fighter, M. Bison. He's he's just chilling in the background. But I think this summer, hopefully, we'll see that. Incredible.
He can kick.
He can kick. I mean, I met him.
He can do everything, basically. He can do everything.
He is. He's a true mixed martial artist.
Yeah.
He's super skilled.
Great on the floor, great standing up.
If he gets his hands on you, oh my Lord. Tap. But again, I've met John Jones. Very nice, very down to earth, very humble. He took the time to speak to me. We spoke about, Taekwondo, kicking. He gave me some advice about what he thinks I should do. And if I ever thought about MMA, he's like, you should do this. You should watch this fighter. So really nice guy. Really
Dana White calls him, he's a killer.
Yeah.
Because he goes to kill. Like,
absolutely.
That's what picking up people by their heads.
Yeah.
Man. Like lifting them off the ground.
Brutal.
Brutal. You don't see anyone else doing that.
No.
And just your opinion as a fighter, you see all these guys and they're training in essentially, from what I can see, it's multiple different sports, and they're getting to this super high level in all of them.
Insane.
In terms of let's say, your pedigree is Taekwondo, that's your thing. What is their level of kicking versus that?
It varies. So what we have, I think now with the UFC, is a lot of the guys, they pretty much like me, they specialize in one area first, and then they branched out. So there's people like Yair Rodriguez, who started off doing Taekwondo, amazing kicks. Anderson Silva, probably the old GOAT.
The old GOAT.
He amazing kicks. He did Taekwondo. So I think that's what we kind of got now. Even someone like John Jones, a great striker, but his base is wrestling. And
solid base,
solid base. So ultimately, with John Jones, if he gets his hands on you, you are.
You're done.
Excuse me. So, but what I'm finding super exciting now, if you go to some of the gyms, we're seeing kids starting with MMA as their base. So
be interesting to see
what the next. So how
10 years, 15 years
10,
time.
15 years. What's MMA going to look like with these kids who have started off doing everything?
Yeah, it's not a Taekwondo like learning jiu-jitsu.
It's not a specialist generalizing. It's a generalist.
It's an MMA guy. So it's going to be interesting what that looks like. You could make the argument that, well, they're going to be a bit of a jack of all trades. Are we going to see the specialist anymore? Some guys, okay. I used to love watching Quinton Rampage Jackson.
Yeah.
If he hit you, it's lights out.
Yeah.
So he had hands of steel, and like I said, great wrestlers, great jiu-jitsu guys. The Gracies, you're going to see amazing grappling. But I'm very interested to see how the sport continues to evolve, because it's so early. I mean, UFC, the first
1992, wasn't it, or 91, something like that, around that era.
So early. So we're talking about boxing was in the bare knuckle era in the late 1800s. And
so Victorian posters of
the Marquis of Queensberry rules came in. I think maybe 1890 something. So we're at that stage with MMA.
Yeah.
You talk about guys like Jack Johnson, John L. Sullivan, Jim Jeffries, the really early pioneers. That's what we're looking at with MMA, and that's why it's so exciting, because it looks so evolved, it looks so modern, but we're super early.
Yeah. So not even 30 years.
Nothing. It's super early.
Still learning what's
Yeah.
What's the way to do it? If there is a way to do it.
I mean, you look at those old boxes and you think, what were they doing? But
it develops.
Exactly. So I'm super excited to see how the sport evolves. And what I love as a martial artist about the UFC specifically, but MMA as a whole, is that it kind of ended all the arguments like, oh, my style will beat your style.
Better, yeah.
Oh no, karate's better than Taekwondo, but Taekwondo's better than Muay Thai. No, a mixed approach is what's necessary. You have to, if you are specialist, you have to take some grappling, you have to take some jiu-jitsu, you have to take some judo, you have to take some Muay Thai.
I still think Jackie Chan would kill everyone.
Well,
do you know what? I watched Rush Hour the other night. What a movie!
He would have everyone.
Rush Hour. Oh my
I
god!
Love that. I really hope they come up with the next
Van Damme, these guys.
I love Van Damme. He inspired me so much.
The splits.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's I love Van Damme, and that's what Bruce Lee was saying all the way back in the 1970s. His philosophy was, basically take something, absorb what is useful, discard what isn't, and create something that's uniquely your own. So he was talking about the martial arts when he said that, but I think he's also talking about life. At life, take.
He's very stoic, wasn't he?
Yeah. Very stoic, very philosophical, and again, that's what I love about the martial arts. And not to be negative about MMA, but that kind of original philosophical message can get lost a little bit when we're watching all the knockouts and all the ego
clipped up on Instagram, just crazy.
Exactly. But even if you talk about maybe one of the someone like Conor McGregor, certainly in his early days and when he was on the road to champion and when he first won the belts, very philosophical, very deep guy.
Yeah.
Don't get I think his recent kind of antics on social media, maybe it's easy to forget that, but this is a very smart, very philosophical guy. And
grounded guy as well.
Very grounded man, extremely inspired by his journey and his road to becoming a champion. I don't think we'll ever see something quite like that again. It's just so unique and a really great guy.
Yeah. I think I saw a stat or a chart was showing all the UFC champions since the very beginning.
Wow.
And who and what their background was.
Okay.
The dominance.
Okay.
From all the different, from karate, jiu-jitsu, everything.
Yeah.
And the top one was wrestling.
Yeah.
Then it was jiu-jitsu. I can't say what else was there, but then boxing and they're different their pedigrees and where they stemmed from and what you see like Magomedov made wrestling Khabib, he really popularized wrestling again, I think.
Yeah, definitely. But as I think wrestling definitely deserves that credit of being such an effective martial art.
You see it in the Olympics; those guys are monsters,
super strong, super strong. Getting slammed on the head, suplexed on your neck, and then just brush it off and start.
But everyone thinks wrestling; they think of WWE.
Which
still, there's respect to those guys. But,
massive.
Because,
I love WWE.
But still, I mean, the wrestlers in the Olympics, like those guys, they're like ox. They're like oxes. These guys, aren't
their backs and everything.
They are absolutely
manhandled by one of those guys.
No, thank you.
Keep leg distance.
Arm
distance. Leg distance.
No, to be honest,
just kicking backwards.
Get away. To be honest, I want to be as far away from. But no, wrestling is really tough. Big respect. I've done a little bit of wrestling at the basically team. There's a club that's basically Team GB out of Manchester, where the GB wrestlers train. I've trained with them a few times, and it's tough.
I did a bit in Iran.
Oh wow!
Brutal. That was brutal.
What was that like? Yeah.
Oh, I just got annihilated.
Yeah.
I got absolutely. Yeah. I don't mind it. You know,
Yeah.
I went for weightlifting because I went to, my coach was Iranian, so I went but the thing is, in Iran, all the weightlifting gyms are next door to the wrestling gyms. So you do one or you do the other. In Iran, it's you either wrestle or you lift weight.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
You know, so I went across one day. I was like, and these guys were drilling on their knees, going down and down and down. You know, drilling how they do for takedowns. And I was like, whoa! And everyone was just spinning there. Like it was in the summer. It was in July, boiling hot gym, no air conditioning, obviously. Yeah. And there's sweat all over the mats.
Oh man!
Yeah.
And everyone, they've been there. They're just practicing the drills. Yeah. They've been there for 2-3 hours, just drilling over and over. And so I got involved a little bit, but it was. It's mental. Just feeling like how strong these guys are. It's just something else.
There's something special about Iran when it comes to combat sports, because Taekwondo, they're also amazing at Taekwondo. Yeah. Amazing. There's Korea and Iran are the two strongest nations. Korea, who literally invented the martial art, but Iran have always been their biggest competitor going forward. And just the stories you hear. I've never actually been, unfortunately. I would love to go, but it's like the turnover, because we had an Iranian coach at GB at one point, and he said, like, Lutalo, if the Iranian number one, like Olympic champion, gets injured, they literally, a guy will just go up into the mountains, and you can find like you can find like 10 guys better than him. It's like literally like the Olympic champion will be there even if he's not injured, and a random guy can come from the mountains and beat him. Then he goes back into the mountains.
Yeah, just switch him out.
Literally, or you just never see him again. You just come down, beat all the Olympic champions. Like, all right, bye bye, and go. And you just hear stories like that. I think when you come from a tough kind of upbringing, it's just
some of those countries like Azerbaijan, like Georgia.
You've got something to fight for. Yeah. The guys there are just tough. It's like whenever I see Iran on draw, I was like, okay, this is
here we go.
It's about to be a war. It's about to be a war. You know, you're gonna.
No, they're tough. From the weightlifting side, there was a kid, 15 years old, weighed 70 odd kilos, snatching 150, 155. Yeah.
What?
And the gym is terrible. The platforms have holes in it. The plates are missing bits. Yeah. Like, there's no equipment for their accessory work as a scaffolding rack to do some pull-ups on and leg raises. Like, they had nothing. Yeah. But this gym had produced, like, 4 world champions.
Isn't it insane, bro? And
there's no, like, S&C and sports science.
Nah. What? And it's so interesting when you see, like, we in Team GB, I think we're the leaders in, like, applied sports science, having the best of everything. The place is super clean, you know what I mean? It's like it's everything's perfect, and like I said, you go to some of these countries and you just see they have so little, but they produce champions. There's something about that spitting sawdust. I mean, I went to Miami and I went to Muhammad Ali's gym, and I thought, oh, this is gonna be amazing. It's a beautiful gym. Shout out to Dino, the guy who runs it now, but it's small and it's very humble. And you think, wow, the greatest boxer of all time did his camps or did his early training out of here, and it's just a common story. So there is something about that spitting sawdust, that tough environment. I think it conditions your mind as well.
It does, yeah. One of my favourite quotes is, "The best do the most with the least."
Wow, that's powerful.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when you see it, when I've been to Iran and seen that, and I went to Kazakhstan and trained with the weightlifters there in the mountains there, and they don't have much.
Yeah.
They don't have all the bands and all the special equipment and data, and they have coaches who have the best eyes. They watch their guys and they know exactly like my Iranian coach. As soon as I walk in or any of the athletes, he would know exactly what you're going to lift today, what you should do, just by your energy, how you walk in the gym. You know, they just know. And that was the same thing like Kazakh. They're just like, okay, you do this today, do that today. Yeah. You know, just from watching you, how you walk in, how you say hello, like the whole vibe of the person. Not AI generated or other stuff.
It's
Are
insane.
you good for time?
I need to go soon.
Okay. We gotta wrap this up. But just quickly, I agree with you 100%. One place where I really felt it was Cuba.
Yeah, but that's raw, isn't it?
Raw, all caps.
Untouched.
They really don't have much there. I mean, I'm talking about.
Look what they produce.
Look what they produce. They have nothing. Like literally, even like the bathroom. It's like I don't want to make anyone feel it's like whoa,
it's rough.
Humble with a capital H, but every training session was like war. They squeeze every drop out of every single session, and they have nothing but the commitment and the accountability those guys have is unbelievable. And again, it's a privilege to had the career that I've had, to been able to travel the world, to have seen every type of training, to see the contrast, like coming from a wealthy country where we're very privileged and we're looked after, to be able to go to countries like Cuba and see the opposite, go to America. So it's been a wonderful life and career. Never would have made it or been able to have done and had the experience if it wasn't for the sacrifice of my grandparents first, coming to the UK, and the sacrifice of my parents. So just to bring it full circle, I feel very very privileged and very blessed, and as excited as I am what happened in the past, I'm even more excited for what's next.
Yeah, well, look, thanks for sharing that. I think it's great. It's an awesome story. There's so much, and I think we're only at the very beginning of it. We're only at the beginning of your story.
You know
what I mean? We're at the very beginning.
Yeah, that's chapter one.
That's chapter one almost.
Chapter one, and that was the cliff notes.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
We could have gone into a lot more detail.
And I think we'd love to have you back on the show.
I would love to come back.
I think today actually was important for you, and for everyone listening, just to hear your stories
for sure
through it. Up to now, because there's so many more topics. I've written down so much stuff and I didn't get through anything.
Okay.
Okay. So we'll have to do a part 2, but so many areas. But thanks for sharing, all that. And I think it definitely shows a lot about you as a person to go through that much. Those are really tough moments to go through, but your mindset and the attitude you come out of it is, and how you are as a person today. We've known each other, a few months and stuff like that, but. The positivity, the gratitude that you always show, and the willingness to then share these experiences with others and give. That's a rare thing. People just take in, it's my thing, and but now as you as a coach, you can pass that on to the next generation.
Absolutely. And you mentioned, the tough times. I don't consider what I've been through that tough, because it's all relative. We were just spoken about Iran and Cuba. That's tough.
But I think the biggest thing is just being able to zoom out. Helicopter view. You go down, you're in it, but then every now and then you have to zoom out.
Absolutely.
And get above and realize, like you say within Rio, Vella's like, you know what, actually, I am so fortunate.
I was born in the first world.
Yeah.
Full stop.
Yeah.
The biggest life hack is being born in the first world. We are so privileged and so lucky that we don't even know it. It's not until you go to some of the countries that we just mentioned that it allows you to zoom out and have that perspective. It's like, come on. We're lucky to do what we do. Even we're in a beautiful apartment studio filming a podcast. This is a dream for some for some guys in Africa somewhere, in India somewhere. So I just try to keep that's what keeps me positive, and that's what keeps my feet on the ground. Know that I'm incredibly blessed to be where I am. We all are. And
the attitude of gratitude, as we always say.
Absolutely. And
Sir Alan.
Massive, big shout out to Sir Alan. He's very inspirational. But gratitude to you guys. Thank you so much for having me on the show. I've had a great time speaking with you, and like you said, we only scratched the surface. I look forward to the next one.
Yeah, part two. For sure.
Lutalo Muhammad, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Until next time.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks, guys.